How World War II began, how Hitler rose to power, why United States of America detonated two nuclear weapons over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki despite the fact that Japan and America were allies in World War I. Let's refresh our memory. As soon as the World War I had ended by virtue of Treaty of Versailles, it opened the gate of World War II. Here is a very famous cartoon that portrays generals and politicians are coming out of Versailles and young soldier is weeping and metaphorically saying that due to Treaty of Versailles, he would be useless until 1940. The person with an iota of brain knew that World War II was writing on the wall because apart from the heavy reparations imposed on Germany, Treaty of Versailles prohibited Germany not to recruit army of more than 100,000 personnel, and Germany was forbidden to invade any country. Eventually, the final nail in the coffin was the Great Depression of 1929 in the USA. There were series of bank failures and complete collapse of stock market in USA. The impact of Great Depression in America was spread across the world. Consequently, unemployment in Germany increases due to economic recession. Thereby, Germany became economically and politically unstable. Panic was pervasive across the masses in Germany, and when panic pervades, then authoritarian and totalitarian regime rise to power. Hitler, who was an extraordinary demagogue, had seized this opportunity and played to the gallery by saying to German people that it was politicians who had signed the Treaty of Versailles, therefore now army would save you from the wrath of the world. Hitler had planned the complete domination of Europe in order to make Germany more stable. Similarly, Japanese Empire and Italy were also of the opinion that in order to get more resourceful economically, it is mandatory to capture other countries. The common thing about these three Axis powers of Germany, Italy, and Japan was that they were being ruled by military who were obsessed with conquest. The modus operandi of Hitler to dominate Europe was to first capture Austria, followed by Czechoslovakia, Poland, Norway, Denmark, France, USSR, and then Britain. But his dream was quashed as soon as he invaded USSR. The interesting thing was that Hitler did a secret pact with USSR not to attack each other in the war, but later Hitler violated the pact and attacked USSR. That proved fatal for him. In 1923, Hitler in his autobiographical manifesto Mein Kampf had predicted a general European war that would result in the elimination of the Jewish race in Germany. After becoming Chancellor of Germany in 1933, Hitler swiftly consolidated power, anointing himself Führer in 1934. Obsessed with the idea of the superiority of the pure German race, which he called Aryan, Hitler believed that war was the only way to gain the necessary living space for the German race to expand. On September 1, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland from the west. 2 days later, France and Britain declared war on Germany and World War II began. With Britain facing Germany in Europe, the United States was the only nation capable of combating Japanese aggression. The war behavior of Japanese was despicable. On December 7, 1941, 360 Japanese aircraft attacked the major US naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, taking the American completely by surprise and claiming the lives of more than 2,300 troops. The attack on Pearl Harbor served to unify American public opinion in favor of entering World War II, and on December 8, Congress declared war on Japan. Germany and the other Axis powers promptly declared war on the United States. The reason why Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor needs to be explored, as both America and Japan were allies in World War I. Then what went wrong? The Japanese were becoming imperial superpower, but when the Great Depression caused recession, hence Japanese leaders thought that in order to survive, they had to invade other countries to capture their resources. They invaded China or Manchuria, but in 1937, when Japan invaded the Chinese city of Nanjing, they attacked an American gunboat that killed 3 Americans. In retaliation, America imposed economic sanction of aircraft and other items crucial to Japan's military. But Japanese kept on invading other countries and later joined the Germany and Italy alliance. Finally, in 1941, President Franklin D. Roosevelt announced trade embargo on oil. An oil shortage was absolute disaster for Japan, who used to import 90% of their oil. Not only it destroyed Japanese economy, but its military was unable to fight without oil, which meant no more invasion. Japan resented on this move of America, so they thought the only solution would be the full-fledged war by attacking the US fleet in the Pacific and then occupy Southeast Asia and claim its resources. Therefore, Japan did surprise attack at Pearl Harbor. After a long string of Japanese victories, the US Pacific Fleet won the Battle of Midway in June 1942, which proved to be a turning point in the war. In North Africa, British and American forces had defeated the Italians and Germans by 1943. On the Eastern Front, a Soviet counter-offensive launched in November 1942 ended the bloody Battle of Stalingrad, which had seen some of the fiercest combat of World War II. The approach of winter, along with the dwindling food and medical supplies, spelled the end for German troops there, and the last of them surrendered on June 31, 1943. On June 6, 1944, celebrated as D-Day, the Allies began a massive invasion of Europe, landing 156,000 British, Canadian and American soldiers on the beaches of Normandy in France. In response, Hitler poured all the remaining strength of his army into Western Europe, ensuring Germany's defeat in the east. Soviet troops soon advanced into Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary and Romania, while Hitler gathered his forces to drive the Americans and British back from Germany in the Battle of the Bulge that started from December 1944 and ended in January 1945. That was the last major German offensive of the war. An intensive aerial bombardment in February 1945 preceded the Allied land invasion of Germany, and by the time Germany formally surrendered on May 8, Soviet forces had occupied much of the country. Hitler was already dead, having died by suicide on April 30, 1945 in his Berlin bunker. On 6th and 9th August 1945, nuclear bomb was unleashed on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki that killed approximately 400,000 people. Finally, on September 2, Japan surrendered. World War II proved to be the deadliest international conflict in history, taking the lives of 60 to 80 million people, including 6 million Jews who died at the hands of the Nazis during the Holocaust. As soon as the World War II ended, communism spread from the Soviet Union into the Eastern Europe, as well as its eventual victory in China and the global shift in power from Europe to two rival superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, that would soon face off against each other in the Cold War that continued for 46 years.